Well, hello, writers. Welcome to episode number 482 of Ink in Your Veins. Welcome to 2025, y'all. This is the first episode coming to you, so it will be the money episode. What I made and how I made it. I'm not even nervous about sharing it this year. So that's a nice thing, but I'll give you a little bit of a rundown about what's going on around here before I do that. We got kittens. We got two kittens. They are adorable. We got them 2 days ago. My brain is still blown from the dopamine of having two kittens in that room right there. They are very small. They're 7 weeks old today. One is named Arlo. The one I named is named Arlo. They're both kind of tiger striped tabbies, and one has a white chest and white paws, and that's Arlo. And Lala is in the process of naming the other one, and she's her greatest superpower in the world is naming things. So she's taking her time. I don't know the other name, but a placeholder name is Turkey Day and or Paps. He came with the name Paps from the foster home that had the feral cat in their house when she gave birth, because of the little pep 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 pep, pep noise that his feet make when he hits things. He's so cute. They're both so cute. I love them so much. We don't know how to introduce them to Jumba, except that we're going so slowly. So slowly. We'll probably for the first week, we will do nothing but have her smell them from under the door. She knows they're in the house. And then we're just going to take our dang time after that because she's still young. She's only a bit over 2 years and she's reactive. And we don't want anyone getting hurt. We're gonna go slow. And so far Junebug is doing very well. She was freaked out the first day by the smell, but now she just doesn't seem to notice them at all. Soon we're gonna have her walk through the room where they're living while they're not in it, so she can get used to that smell. And she's getting lots of treats and love and special attention. And I'm very grateful for the fact that I have this second little spare room office that is right now just a cat room, and it smells like kittens and kitten food. I'm also going to be happy when they can get onto dry food instead of the very stinky wet food. Uh, and it's so fun. It is so fun. And it feels like such a reward. It was our reward for getting through the holidays. We said we would get a kitten, and I had secretly, not so secretly, wanted two because raising two kittens, we've done it before, and it's much easier than one because they don't care about you as a being. They will come to you for pets and love, but their full purpose in life is to be with that other cat. And it works out really, really well, or it has worked out for us in the past. I have to get kittens because I am allergic to full-grown cats, but my allergies can kind of get used to the allergens as the kittens build them. So that's happening, and I haven't had any reaction to them at all because they're so small, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Oh, I was going to say that I had wanted to, but I hadn't really said it out loud. And then we decided that the holidays were hard enough. Lala said, we deserve two. And these people found a mama cat. And she actually had four kittens, but then she stole off in the night with two of them and left two behind. And she kept coming in to feed the two that she had left behind, but they couldn't trap her because they knew that the other two were out in the wilderness somewhere. So we got those two. And hopefully those other two will be found and also homed. We don't need them. Two cats and one dog is just perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that has been our joy and our excitement. I'm also pretty happy that the sun has come out. It's been kind of a dire uh holiday season summer-wise. We had snow on the North Island up by Lake Topah, if you know where that is. And it's summer, it's midsummer for us. It's been very cold, wet, and rainy with southerlies blowing through. And today it's sunny and I can hear a lawnmower in the background, and the cicadas should be singing full force by now. They are not. It is too cold for them, but hopefully they'll be out soon. And I think that's all that's going on around here. I have been slowly getting back to the desk, and that has been feeling great. Oh, we did gosh, was that just this last weekend? Lord, time is just doesn't make any sense. We did the Write More, Worry Less workshop on my Sunday, everybody else's Saturday, and it was a joy. It was such a good 2 hours just to spend talking about how we deal with the inner critic's voice, what we do with it, I mean, spoiler, you can't fight it. You must just ignore it. And we talked about methods for ignoring that inner critic and just doing our work and not trying to do more than we can do or more than we can hold in our actual lives, the lives that we are living in, and doing that with joy. And I just feel like it is seeped into everything this week as well as I move forward from that. So for all of you who were there, thank you for coming. It was a joy to have you. And yeah, it was awesome. I will redo that workshop at some point because it was just so fun and so good. And now let's get into what you're all here for. This show always has more downloads than other shows during the year. Some people just come back, I think, for this show. So we're going to talk about what I made and how I made it. I've got the numbers up here in front of me. All right, so this year, and I'm going to talk US dollars because I still think in US dollars, and for the most part, I'm paid in US dollars, which is fantastic living in New Zealand because the New Zealand dollar is so it is not strong in comparison. It is so weak in comparison to the US dollar. So in US dollars, I made 1,000. Well, I can't even speak yet. $194,000 in US dollars. So that is pretty great. And I would guess I'm always off, always, always, always off. These are my own numbers that I'm pulling from my own records. And whenever I get my W-2s, they are not my W-2s. I don't have W-2s. Whenever I get my 1099s, it's always more. Probably for things like PayPal's, I'm not counting, I don't see their fees or, Kickstarter fees or something like that. So I'm going to say it's a pretty safe bet. I broke 200,000 again this year. So that'll make, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now that I am just over $200,000 as a writer. And that feels good. I made less money than I did last year. As far as I know, last year I made $226,000. This year, I took the conscious effort, and we're talking 2024. I took the conscious effort to step back from teaching. I was able to step back from teaching a little bit. I had to add one class because honestly, we needed the money. Lala is still doing part-time contracting work as she can find it. So I was so happy that I can do this kind of work where I teach more classes if I need to make more money. Writing is kind of magic that way too. If I need to make more money, I can also write more books or push the books that are out there. Um, but the interesting thing about the money that I made this year is I gave myself some breathing room and some space, and I really worked with fear around money. Fear of financial insecurity is has and always probably will be part of my genetic makeup. I'm always worried it's all going to go to hell and we're going to end up, living in our broken down VW rusted out shell of a van down by the docks. It hasn't happened yet. And this year I really worked on kind of the mindset around that. And for the most part, the fear has been just lifted. I show up, I do my job, and the bills get paid. I will be very honest with you, and I may have talked about this on the show or not. I can't remember actually, but I have had some stupidly hard money things happen in that, because of the way, I'm not even going to go into the tax things, but for the first 4 years of living here, we're just coming out of it now. I'm going into the fourth year, so I don't have to deal with this anymore. But I had to split everything US and New Zealand wise because I didn't pay taxes on royalties in New Zealand for the first 4 years of living here. And to be honest, I want to claim everything that I make in New Zealand because it makes it easier. I get to pay New Zealand more taxes. Um, and I just don't have to worry about breaking it out. It's already hard enough with the two different tax years. United States goes from January to December, and New Zealand goes from April to March. And it has been a nightmare. I ended up having several very large tax bills. One was the United States tax bill based on basically the royalties that I had not paid. I saved the money for my taxes, but I do not pay estimated taxes. I never have. I probably should. So the money was there mostly to pay these big taxes, but then I also got a large tax penalty because it took it took so long to file with New Zealand that I owed more money to the United States. And then I did this amazing thing where I have no idea how I did this, but for about the first half of 2020, it's basically 2025, but it's the New Zealand tax year. For the first half of that, I was telling myself on my paperwork that if I made $12,000 in a month in the United States, I told New Zealand that I made $12,000 and then I paid taxes on that because I do pay estimated taxes here. I don't have to pay estimated taxes anymore in the United States because I'm paying them as I go here in New Zealand and then washing up at the end of the year to pay them what they are owed after I pay all of the New Zealand taxes. But I was not doing any conversion because I was an idiot. I have no idea how I did this. So if I made $12,000 US, I claimed $12,000 New Zealand and pay taxes on that. But that is not right because $12,000 US is about 20,000 New Zealand. So I was underpaying New Zealand in a big way by what, 40%. Oh, and so just 2 months ago, I realized this. And I have so many tax people helping me with all of this stuff. I'm not doing it alone, believe it or not. Sounds like I am. And Peter says, "Oh yes, it's surprising how many people do that on accident." Just, he told me how to pay the extra money to IRD, which is New Zealand's version of IRS. And I did that, but it was another big, huge hit of money. And this is the whole point of me saying this is that I am very proud of the way Lala and I handle money. And I will just say loud and proud that that's the way I handle money. Lala doesn't like to handle money or do the money stuff, and she is very proud of and very supportive of me. And she really makes me feel awesome about doing all this work, and I enjoy doing it for the most part. Um, but the stress was huge, and I had to pull money out of other savings accounts like we'd been saving for a new car someday. That is, we don't have that savings anymore. I had to pull money out of places. But here's another place that I'm going. And I'm going to break down what I made and how I made it. But this is more like kind of mindset stuff. I can't remember where I have talked about this. I may have talked about this on the show or with Sasha. I'm sorry, I don't remember. But a kind of huge thing happened last month, and we had been working up to it. We talked to a financial advisor. I have never talked to a financial advisor. I am 52 years old, self-employed, and I had never talked to one because I was too scared. 15 years ago, is that right? Yeah, about 15 to 18 years ago, right in there. We had a $425,000 house, which we owed $425,000 on. We had $125,000 worth of debt, which included consumer credit card debt, IRS debt, and student debt. We were drowning. We did not make enough money. I couldn't make the bills. I mean, I could, but just barely. And I didn't know how to save money. We had no savings whatsoever. None, none. I had cashed out my 401k from a job in order to purchase the house. Neither of us had any retirement savings. Nothing. So it's probably late 30s at this point. And gosh, it sounds like a good time to realize that now, even though then I thought it was so late. Um, But I started thinking about money and I started using this program, which you have heard me talk about, called You Need a Budget. I still use You Need a Budget, YNAB. You Need a Budget. It is my way of tracking money. It does all my business bills. It does all my personal stuff. And it taught me how money worked. It taught me at that point, it taught me over a few months of doing this, 6 months or so, I was able to see that we were spending $100 a month per pet. And at that point, we had 3 dogs and 5 cats. So that was $800 a month over everything, over the vet bills and the pet food. It was about $100 per pet per month. And that is when I stopped getting pets, y'all. I was like, holy shit, I need to not find any more animals on the side of the road and keep them. And we started to let them go out of attrition. When they died of old age, we did not replace them. Uh, YNAB taught me things like that. It taught me how to put money aside for the things that were coming instead of always being surprised every single month, even though I finally thought I had a handle on what the month would do. I never did. YNAB fixed that for me. You will hear other people proselytize about YNAB. It is life-changing. If you've ever thought about doing any kind of budgeting system, this is not really a budgeting system. It gives every dollar that you have right now, even if you don't have enough money, but it gives every dollar that you have right now a job. And then when you get more money in, you give that jobs. It's a very it's a mind shift on how YNAB works. It's got a lot of fantastic videos. I used to be an affiliate for it. I may still be. If you want to try YNAB, I may be able to get you a discount. Just email me, Rachel at rachelherron.com. I'm sure I have some kind of affiliate link. I don't even feel like looking it up right now. It is so good. So anyway, I worked two jobs for 10 years, writing and doing 911, using YNAB, dug our way out of debt. In Lala's job, I made her max out, and I also maxed out in our retirement, putting into retirement. And I was still too scared to go see a financial advisor because honestly, I just thought they would laugh at us and say, you will never retire. And when I went to see Chelsea here in Wellington, when Lala and I went to see Chelsea, I thought she would laugh at us and say, you will never retire. Do you know what she said? She said, you've done a great job saving. You have retirement. You will both be able to retire. Me, when I'm 63, I'm 52. That's only 11 years from now. And Lala, when she's 67, although she's kind of almost retired right now in terms of money making. So we were really looking at our money just through what I make because we both have some retirement savings now that will support us and we will get Social Security. I don't get much Social Security because fire departments, 911, those police departments don't usually pay into Social Security. You have something else instead. And I'd forgotten about that pension. There's some kind of pension somewhere that now I'm asking about what that will be. But this was just looking at our Social Security. There is also something in New Zealand called a superannuation, which is kind of like Social Security, but when you have dual citizenship, they look at which one is higher and you get that one. So if we get Social Security, we will not get the New Zealand superannuation because that would not be fair. And if the United States dollar stays strong, we'll probably do that. But anyway, um, all of this to say, I'm not scared financially. Perhaps I should be. Uh, I've recently we're in the process of getting more insurance because I do feel kind of precarious, me being the sole breadwinner. And if I can't teach, if I can't write books, then the money stops. So we've been doing that kind of thing. And while I was working on kind of breathing through this fear of financial insecurity, I just kept putting one foot in front of the other and writing books. And I released one. I did not advertise any book this year except for Life in Stitches, which always has about $100 running at Facebook, which I should really look at because I know it brings it in and I don't know how much more of an ROI it's getting, but that's the only advertising I did this year, except for a couple of book bubs that Ed got me, which are fabulous. Um, and so, all that to say is that things are just trucking along. So let me tell you what I made, where that money came from, because it's kind of astonishing. All right, from self-publishing. I made $23,360 from that is up by $1,000 from last year self-pub without without doing too much. All right, so traditional publishing, I made almost the same as I did last year as well. From traditional publishing, I made $18,590. So that is, oh, and then from audio, which is self-pub, I made $2,850. So what that breaks down to is of that money from those books, 58% of my book income came from self-publishing and 42% came from traditional publishing, which is pretty close to the way it's been for the last few years. I generally make 60 to 70% on self-publishing and 30 to 40 on traditional, and that happened again this year. Patreon, which are my essays, I made $17,160. Kickstarter, which was Unstuck, was $20,196. So the really cool thing, the thing I'm really excited about this year is that from writing books, nonfiction and fiction, I made $82,156. That's a 29% increase from last year when I made $63,000 from writing. I made $82,156 from writing. I think that might, I'll have to go back. That That's definitely either the highest or very close to the highest I've ever made from writing books in a year. And honestly, I told Sasha Black that I wanted to make $100,000. I wanted to be a six-figure writer, not from all the other stuff that I do. I just wanted to make six figures from writing this year. And I think I could do it. I have to make $17,844 in order more than I made this year in order to do that. So that gives me a goal. I really thought when I said it to her that I was like not thinking sensibly, but I can do it. Also, I did the math wrong when I was first starting to get ready for this podcast, and I thought I had done it. But I will say that I have made $137,000 from writing in New Zealand dollars. So I am a six-figure author for writing only in the country in which I live. But again, I go for US dollars. And so made $82,000 from writing. That makes me so happy. So happy. I did work my butt off and it felt like it. Um, but it wasn't onerous. It's just been one foot in front of the other, and that feels pretty great. So, and then from everything else, from teaching, appearances, some magazine articles, some other various coaching things, I made $111,000. So that's where the other bulk of my money came from this last year, for a total of what looks like right now $194,000, but will probably be right around $200,000. So here's something I want to add, and this is something that YNAB told me. So I made, let's call it $200,000 in 2024. That is, when I say I made that, I mean Rachael Herron Limited made that. That's what my business is called here in New Zealand. Rachael Herron Limited, or Rachael Herron, the business in the United States. That's what the business made. But because I use YNAB and because I send my salary, what I pay Rachael Herron, the person, I send that to myself in New Zealand. And out of that, I pay all of our bills. I pay our mortgage. I pay food. I pay the car stuff. I pay the fun stuff that we do, the pet stuff that we do. I can tell you exactly what I made, what Rachael Herron made and lived her life on. And I find this really interesting. And I might go back and look at other years just for my own interest sake to see how much more I have paid myself. But so for 2024, I paid myself a salary, US dollars, of $68,196. So $68,000 was my salary. That is what was left over after I paid taxes and all of my business expenses. So $200,000 is what the company made. I took home $68,000 for an average of about $5,700 a month US. And that does go farther here. That's usually about, I don't know, 75 to 7,500 to 8,000 a month in New Zealand dollars. So all of the work that I did, Rachael Herron, the person, to live her life and do with as she pleases with that money was $68,000. And that also sounds pretty freaking great. That's after paying for car insurance and all of the things. And I very much like that I chose to look at that this year. And next year I'll be able to look at that and see if I can bring that up because I would like to. And I would also like to increase savings and all that. I have goals like that. But let's see. Ed, darling Ed, sent me my self-publishing stuff, and what won't be shown in a couple of the things I'm going to tell you right now. This does not include my Kickstarter, and it doesn't include anything that I made from Shopify, because this is just from all of the online vendors that Ed tracks my sales in. But it looks like for all of the total money, um, for what is on the online vendors that is not Shopify, that isn't my own store, it looks like Cypress Hollow made the most money, right, Ed? No, I'm wrong. My nonfiction made, so I'm assuming that's Fast Draft Your Memoir and what else? Probably Fast Draft Your Memoir and then the Letters to a New Author made 24% of what I sold. And then comes A Life in Stitches, which is memoir. So it's still nonfiction, but it doesn't quite fall in there. So that's 19.7. Unstuck was 5% of my sales, which is actually really good because I actually put no money. I have put no effort into trying to sell that book, other than a little bit on Shopify and on the Kickstarter. So that does not surprise me. And in terms of fiction, Cypress Hollow, the Knitlet, sold the most at 20%. And then it was the Ballard Brothers romances at 11%, Firefighters at 11%, and the Darling Songbirds at 8%. So this is really good stuff for me to know as I am moving forward, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Let's see what else might be surprising on here. I made the most money in Kindle ebooks. And then interestingly, this is a kind of the first time I'm looking at these kind of things. So Kindle ebooks over all of the platforms. I made 33% of that money. KDP paperbacks. What the hell? Why is this true? Made 22% of that. That's how many paperbacks I sold. My gob, it is smacked. That must be like Life in Stitches and Fast Draft and Memoir, which people tend to order more in paperback, but I'm fascinated by that. 10% was in Kindle Unlimited. I had the Cypress Hollow Knit Lit in Kindle Unlimited for most of the year. I did choose to pull it out because I want to bundle it on Shopify. So that's not in, I don't think I have anything in Kindle Unlimited right now, but that was only 10% of my earnings anyway on all of those platforms. And then it drops down to ACX. And oh, look at Shopify is in there. Ed, you're amazing. Shopify got about 2 point, it's about 5% ebook and audio. Apple got 7.2%. So, but overall, Amazon as a whole got 66% of my self-pub sales. So, as a goal, I'm going to try to bring Shopify up this year in order to reclaim some of that from them. That is a goal. That is a goal of mine. What else are my goals this year? I have them written down here. My words this year are sparkle and bloom. Sparkle and bloom because I want to have fun and I want to bloom into what I already have. I have mentioned this before, but I love Profit First by Mike Michalowicz, and his book Fix This Next is what I'm kind of working through right now. And he has this triangle hierarchy of needs for your business. And the very first thing your business needs to be doing right down here on the bottom level is can what you're selling or what you're doing pay for your life? And yes, absolutely, it is doing that. But I would like the books that I already own the rights to, especially the ones that I self-published that I can sell harder. I want to try to up the sales from that. And I know that that is a hard thing to do. I know everybody is trying to sell their backlist, but I have not tried to sell my backlist at all, at all. And I'm kind of interested to see what will happen if I try to sell backlist, especially to my Shopify store. So that is my primary focus as this year starts. I'm going to focus first on the Cypress Hollow books because that's 6 books that I can bundle. And the good thing about the Knitlit is that on whatever advertising platform I choose to go with, I can target knitters and readers instead of just not just romance readers or memoir readers. I can target a hobby as well, which normally has a lower cost per spend on your ad spend. So that's my first thing that I'm going to be doing. I will say on top of that, I'm going to tell you the list of things that I am doing in the order in which I'm doing them this year. But every day for 15 to 20 minutes, I will be working on the book that is right now being called Ephemera. It's the Edith book, and I'm just playing with it. And she's being written in the background while I am doing these other things because my books do kind of get written when I do them playfully. And I really did think very hard. Even as just a few days ago, I thought I might do this. I thought about taking the next 2 to 3 months and writing Ephemera, just writing the first draft, so then I could go into revisions. But look, I have a lot of books out there right now. I have another book coming out this year. It'll be a Kickstarted, The Fix. I also have The Seven Miracles of Beatrix Holland coming out this year. And I have other books that are in the revision phase that I can push out. So my focus, even though I'm so excited about this novel, my next novel that I'm writing, the one I've been talking about on the show so much, I'm so excited about it. It doesn't need to be a priority right now because it would take over everything and nothing else would get done. None of these other things that I want to get done would get done. So I'm going to give it the beautiful 15 to 20 minutes in the morning. And I was talking about this in the workshop, but one of the great things when you end your writing session on a positive is it means the next day you can't wait to get back to it. Because when I set, I usually set a timer for 20 minutes and that's my hard stop. If I get to 15 minutes, I can stop. Great. And if I hit 20 minutes, timer goes off, I must stop. And what that means is it's frustrating because I'm having so much fun. And that is awesome. The harder way to do that, the way that will can end up shooting you in the foot, is if you just write when you have your writing time and then you write until you get frustrated. If you write until you get frustrated, which is what a lot of people do, and I have done many, many times, then you get done writing when you're frustrated because you run out of words, you run out of ideas, and you just walk away. And then the next day, your body and brain remember that frustration when they think about writing instead of that feeling of, oh man, you mean I have to stop? I want to keep playing and I want to keep that going. So I'm going to do that every day. But then, so I'm doing that constantly. I'm writing that book. But first of all, I'm going to be doing the Cypress Hollow books 1 through 6, optimizing them. They're pretty close to being optimized, getting all the paperbacks out there. Thank you, Ed. And then selling them, working on selling them with ads to my Shopify store and really playing with that. As I'm doing that, I will also be doing that to the Darling Songbirds, the Ballard Brothers, and the Firefighters. So all the Darling Bay books as well. And I'm going to be trying to do this with Unstuck and Life in Stitches and Faster After Memoir, all of the things that I have the rights to. I'm going to be running ads to try to get a return, a positive ROI, which means I can keep doing it. And I know ads, I think of ads as gambling. So I will not be throwing money, good money after bad. Becca Syme always talks about maybe your books aren't selling because they're not meant to sell in this market. And I will be watching for that too. I will not just keep chucking money down the ads machine. I've got a couple of courses that I'm working my way through slowly, and I'm going to be focusing on those. So after I've optimized these books to be selling to the best of their little ability, because they're good books. Um, Meanwhile, the fix, which is my recovery memoir, goes to my copy editor next week. Fantastic. That was already planned. And it's been done for months. Uh, then I will record it. Once it is recorded, I will either edit it or I might hire editing this time because it just takes so bloody long. And I did get a name of a great person. Um, After the audiobook is done and dusted, then I will put together the Kickstarter. I don't have a date for that. I should probably set up a pre-order, one of those launch pages. I'm gonna make myself a note to do that because I know that there's no time that's too early to be doing that. Uh, but I don't have a time frame on when that will launch. It will just be sometime this year. Seven Miracles comes out in August, so it will probably be either 2 months before or 2 months after. I don't want to be right on top of that. Um, and then after that, I have these three women's fiction books that I love that I got back from Penguin that I also want to re-release, and I need to decide about how I'm going to do those audiobooks, whether I'm going to record them and hire out the editing, mastering, or if I want to try to sell the rights to the recordings because I really want the recordings to be out there when I release the books. Although that may be the good being the enemy of the perfect, or the perfect enemy of the good, that one. I'll have to think about that. So those are the big things that will take a lot of time that will be taking the time at the desk. So I am very glad that I'll be writing ephemera every day because then I'll still be playing with words and having fun. But so much less revision is on my plate than I usually have. This is really boots on the ground trying to sell books, which is hard. May I remind you, as I always remind myself and everybody that I know, publishers don't know how to sell books. The fact that we have a hard time selling our own books, y'all, the people who have millions and millions of dollars invested into their companies don't know how to sell books. So we're doing the best we can. And we don't beat ourselves up when it is difficult to sell our books. We just know that that is true. But I'm very glad and lucky and thankful that I'm in a place to kind of like experiment with that. So that's what my 2025 is looking like. A lot of fun writing and some down and dirty business stuff, some business selling some backlist because I would like to make those backlist books work for me if I can. And that really does mean advertising and also engaging with the audience that I have and growing that as well. And of course, I will be teaching and I should say, if anybody is interested in the 90-day courses, they'll be starting in March. And in February, I will open the doors for it. And I have it's not a super secret. It's just something you should know about. It's a document that you can put your name on, and then you are notified before anyone else, before my newsletter, before anyone else, that the classes are open. And you can put your name on that list just by going to rachelherron.com/revision or rachelherron.com/90, or just go to rachelherron.com and look for the writer's link. Because if you go to the link for the class, there'll be buttons on it, and you just push the button that says notify me first. And then it's just a simple Google Doc, and you put your name and email address on there, and I let you know first. So that will be coming in about 4 weeks, the registration, or 3 weeks. Oh, holy cow, 3 weeks. The registration will open, they will sell out, and I can't wait to teach them again. And if you want notification of those, please do be on that list, because sometimes they sell out from that list and they actually never open to the larger group. That'll be coming. I love this life that I have built, that my partner and I have built, that me and the dog and the two cats and my wife have built. I am so glad the holidays are over. I'm so glad that Lala and I went to Rarotonga before our holidays. We had kind of wished that we had gone afterwards, but then we would have been recovering and heartbroken from the holidays. And instead, we weren't. We had a fantastic holiday. And then we had family, which was difficult. And now we're in recovery from that. But you know what helps with recovery is kittens. Kittens, kittens. So you can always follow me on social media over on Instagram if you want, Rachel Herron, because there's a bunch of pictures of kittens over there, and there will continue to be. I'm also enjoying Blue Sky very much. I don't think we're ever going to sell a book on Blue Sky, but Blue Sky is really scratching the itch that Twitter used to fulfill, and it's still a really nice place, and they have huge block lists. So if you subscribe to block lists, they're just people who spend all day putting onto these block lists trolls and hateful people and people that I don't want to engage with. And you just subscribe to those and you never have to hear from those people. It's pretty great. So yes, it is a curated echo chamber for what you want. Hopefully I'm on block lists for the people I wouldn't want to hang out with at a hot tub party, so that they don't have to hear from me. I do like Blue Sky for that. I am just rambling all over the place. I am happy that 2025 is here. I would love to hear from you. I always say this. Not everybody takes me up on it, but if you ever want to email me and tell me what your plans are for this year, I'd love to have you. Oh, I haven't even told you about Adventure 52. Geez, maybe I mentioned it last week. But Adventure 52 is something that we're doing. It's at the $5 and up level on Patreon, and that also gets you Rachel Says Right if you want that. Patreon.com/slash Rachel. But I have a whole bunch of people who have joined Adventure 52 who are doing 52 fun things in 2025. That's it. You can do 4 in a week or 1 a week, or I can't do any of the other math. But there are people who are making songs, who are cooking, who are baking, who are drawing, who are running. They're choosing something that they want to do for fun. And then we are keeping each other accountable and sharing the fun. So if you want to join Adventure 52, I would love to have you. Patreon.com/slash Rachel, $5 level and up. That's a Slack channel where we are already hanging out and having a good time. So you are cordially invited to that. I really like 2025 so far. It's only 9 days in, but 2 of those 9 days have been kittenful. And yep, I know they're going to grow up and they're going to be even cuter when they're grown up, but it's really hard to beat a kitten. All right, I'm done. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of my life as a writer. It means the world that you are here. Thank you.